Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Mark Marquette. So glad you're with us today to stay curious. For over 20 years, the American Space Museum has been preserving the birth of America's space age right here in its delivery room, Brevard County. And our humble museum has artifacts you won't see anywhere else. We're in downtown Titusville, just 10 miles from the Rocket Ranch, we call it, across the Indian River. And my co-producer and partner for over 4.5 years and over 1,150 broadcasts is Marty Winkle. Hello, Marty. Glad to have you here today.
Well, I'm happy to be here, Mark.
Yes, you've got you're going to have a quick. Marty's going to try to bring in a trivia question each day, and I'd say some will get you thinking. So, Marty, you've got one today. We'll lay it on him here in just a minute or two. Uh, we have chosen the green screen back here is a Soyuz rocket with a Soyuz spacecraft on it, launched 6 years ago. And this plays into something going on at the International Space Station today. There's the, take the logo away at the top, and there's interesting juxtaposition of space history going on with this launch there. So, also want to thank the Ramanujans and for their financial support of the American Space Museum, Ram, Mal, and Bharat. They travel extensively around the world and have great insight into their journeys. They were just in Switzerland, Marty, and but they when there's a space-related museum or place of interest, they will be covering that, and you'll enjoy Go History Travel on Facebook. Also is where I follow them a lot. So, and yes, we are got a little skeleton crew going on here during October, and our museum is transitioning into a much better place through some leadership of our board after losing our executive director, Karen Conklin, to cancer over 2 months ago. We miss Karen deeply. And in fact, this was her gag idea to set up there at our skeleton crew here at our actual consoles. If you've not been in the museum, these are our museum consoles that fueled the space shuttle for over 30 years. We're proud of having them in there. And some of you will be catching on the news today, maybe already, an annular ring of fire eclipse. That's why you didn't see it. The path of totality. There was only less than 200,000 people lived in the path of angularity, where the moon is further away, so it doesn't cover up as much of the sun. In fact, it only covered up about 93% of it. That's what the picture on the left-hand side is showing you. Still a fun, dramatic event anywhere you can see a partial eclipse of the sun or one like this. One of the areas, Marty, that had totality was Easter Island. So I haven't looked up any pictures of that yet. Haven't had a quite busy day today liaisoning my job here as community liaison at the American Space Museum. And so that begs the question today that we'd like to throw out there to you all. We put this on Facebook yesterday. Meatball or worm? Yesterday we celebrated the anniversary of the 68th anniversary of NASA. And there we go. I thought it would pop up live there. I'm looking at my smart tablet to get your comments up there. Dave Stangy. Mia says hi. Hi, little Mia. Waving at Mia, Dave Stangy's granddaughter up there in Michigan. Go Tigers, says Bill Whiting. Did they win yesterday, Marty? Or did Houston win?
Last I heard, it was Detroit.
All right, somebody's going to tell us who won
Bill,
there.
let us know.
Steve Jokums up there in Fox Lake. Hope you enjoyed today's show, Steve. And all of you can chime in there, and we'll take your questions. Anything you want to ask me today, go ahead, as I'm going to talk about astronauts. And I feel it's important to put faces on the people who are orbiting the Earth. And I know you all that are following Stay Curious weekly, daily, I think that you all kind of get it, that, these are human beings just like our neighbors up there. So, we had only 620 human beings orbited the Earth. We had dinner with John Harrington the other night. Delightful gentleman to be with. But are you a meatball person? Are you a NASA worm logo? Or do you like the morphed that they call the new heritage logo, where you have wormy meatballs, as Steve Jokum said? That don't sound good to me at all. But it does kind of look cool. I could live with that. It's more of a Times Roman font on the NASA of the old school meatball there. So, Carlton Bailey says hi. Yes, 6 a.m. Friday morning, the Vulcan launch. We'll try to talk about that Thursday from Complex 41. And I knew you'd love the Halloween touch there, Carlton. Tom Colbert loves the Heritage logo. I do like the meatball and it combined. That doesn't bother me a bit. The worm logo just doesn't say space to it. It just says we rebranded the way we look today. So, well, today there's the legacy meatball that was hands down the favorite on Facebook yesterday. A little disappointed that didn't have more shares, Marty. It had only 5 or 6 shares. I was hoping for 25 or 30 shares. I don't see anybody putting content out like we do. Who's parked at the International Space Station? And of course, I did not print out my printout, doggone it, that I needed to. So bear with me here. I had more stats together than what I'm showing here today. I'm going to probably have to get my Who's in Space folder. I think I can do it with that over there. So forgot to print out my cheat sheet, but we have these spacecraft represented at the International Space Station. There you see the Crew 9 docked at the upper left-hand corner and Crew 8 Dragon above them. Where Crew 9 docked was where the Starliner was. Progress is a cargo ship, as is Cygnus 21. MS-26 is the Russian spacecraft that took up 3 members about 2 weeks ago. We'll talk about that as I set myself up here. Because one of my friends asked me the other day, Mark, I'm confused about what's going up on the space station. How come this Crew Dragon 9 isn't bringing Butch and Sonny back right away? Well, I'll tell you why. Because they're up there and they became part of the Expedition 72 crew. So they're not going to come back till March, when the crew of Crew Dragon 8 comes back. That just had 2 astronauts on it, okay? And Ochvention and Nick Hague were launched. And they've been up there now for about a week. I didn't print out their data there. We'll see exactly when they were launched here in just a minute. But you have Crew 8 up there that's going to come back October 7th or 8th. They've not given a definitive date of when this crew is going to come back. They've been up there since March 4th is when they were launched and docked the next day. We're going to see pictures of them. So you got 1, 2, 3 crewed vehicles and 1, 2, 3 cargo ships docked there, okay? Those Progress cargo ships are ferried up about every 4 months. And then in between that is usually 3 to 4 times a year they send up a cargo ship. Usually there's 2 Progress and 2 other ones, Cygnus or a cargo ship from SpaceX. NASA's put these contracts out for several years. So that's the Expedition 672 logo. It's officially 71, 72 until the Crew 9 astronauts come back. So who is orbiting Earth? 14 humans orbiting Earth right now. The record's 19, just set last September. We've got the 3 Chinese on their Tiangong space station. Those 3 have been up there since April. They will probably be coming back early it could be next week. They're not announcing their schedule, but definitely they'll be coming back by November, because they will launch Shenzhou 19 and have 6 people up there to overlap for about a week. So if they launch 3 more soon, that'll be 17. But Crew Dragon 8's coming back on the 7th or 8th. The 8th is a Tuesday, so they might be coming back as one of those days. Don't know if they're coming back on the West Coast or the East Coast here around Florida or California, because SpaceX announced they're going to start bringing the Crew Dragons back on the California coast. Crew 9 was just launched. There is astronauts. Let's see, that was the Crew 9. Of course, Nick Hague was launched up there with Alexander Gorbanov. They're both seasoned veterans, and Hague is aboard this picture right here. Hague is aboard this. Soyuz launched October 11th in 6 years ago, October 11th, 2018. He's on board there with another astronaut that's on the International Space Station, Alexei Ovinchin. And Ovinchin came up with the crew of the Soyuz MS-26 crew there. And then, of course, Butch and Sonny did not come back on the Starliner, so they're segueing into the Expedition 72 crew, their 8-day voyage turning into something that will last until March, and over 200 days in space they will have extra up there. Both, again, experienced astronauts. There's the Chinese astronauts that are up there since April 25th. They call them Tachionauts, all right. And they've been up there about 100, and I think I did this slide. Yeah, that slide's today. So they've been up there 160 days, all right. 30 days a month times 5, a little over 5 months up there. 2 rookies, all right. And then Yeo Gangfu, he has been up there 400 in some days total in space. Up there. There he is, 3 over my shoulder, whatever that says. He was the second Chinaman in space. I think this is his 3rd mission. Here is our Expedition 72 and 71 crew mixed. 11 on the International Space Station, 3 on the Tiangong Space Station, make 14. The red in the back is the MS-26 crew that came up there. In the middle is Don Pettit, who's 69 years old. And Ovechko is right above Sunny Williams in her hair. And then just joining them, of course, are the 2 Crew 9, Hague and Alexander Gorbanov, all right? Now, Hague and Ovechko above Sunny right there, and they were together on this launch that I'm showing you here in the back. And I'm building their drama up to it, Marty. There's Butch Wilmer on the other side, folded arms. Gee, 8 days. I'm going to miss Thanksgiving, going to miss Christmas, going to miss my wife and my 2 daughters. Sonny is married to a Texas Ranger over 20 years. They have fur babies. They're big pet lovers. She says she's in her happy place. I don't know about Butch, Marty. There's Jeanette Epps in the back there. She's winding up her science missions as they're fixing to come back in next Tuesday, hopefully. And in the middle, beside her is, I think I got their pictures lined up here. Yeah, there we go. There's the Expedition Crew A group. Matthew Dominic, they've been up there since March 4th, 212 days, in their 213th day. All of them rookies except for Michael Barrett. This is his 3rd space flight, 424 days, 65 years old, a senior citizen. 2 senior citizens up there, Marty. Hooray for Medicare here in our great American state. Jeanette Epps, quite a story herself. She was going to be on the Boeing Starliner and then got bumped from it for personal reasons. And then I think she was on another crew mission. Finally up there experiencing her dream, and what a gal she is. I talked to her personally with a group of people at the during the Moon Day celebration, July 20th. She was out at the Sands History Space Museum. There's Sonny and Butch. Okay. We all know their legacy and their story up there. Never thought they'd be part of this expedition crew. Sonny, in fact, is the commander of the space station right now. And she was commander of Expedition 18 or something like that, one of the earlier missions up there. 72 is their simple emblem. Sometimes these get quite complicated, but just the International Space Station and the 72, which I like because I'm the high school class of 72, an old baby boomer here. So this is our Expedition 72 crew up there. We've got 3 Russians and 4 Americans are officially part of that crew there. And once again, Haig and Ovinchko up there in the upper left-hand corner are star-crossed that they're meeting each other for the second time on the International Space Station, but their first time was an aborted launch. Here's Don Pettit. He will have, today is his 391st day in space. You have 3 weeks ago they docked and launched. Ovenko, almost 400 days, 396 days in space. And Wagner there, what's he got, Marty? Let me make him smaller. 216 days. So that was an experienced crew. We had lunch or dinner with John Harrington, who went up on STS-113, and I believe that was Expedition 55, somewhere in there, when Bones is his aviation call sign. John Harrington, the first Native American in space. I said he's been to space with quite an all-star group. Peggy Whitson, Weatherby was his commander. Don Pettit was up there. I said, Don Pettit, to Space Geeks, John, is known as the MacGyver of astronauts. He goes, oh my God, he definitely is the MacGyver of astronauts. He can do anything with anything. And the last time he was interviewed by the group that interviews astronauts at Johnson Space Center, his second, he'd already been interviewed 2 or 3 times. And the last time before he got chosen, John Harrington said, I think he just told them, you give me a paper clip and I can fix the space station. So I want to be an astronaut. And he's an awesome guy. We'll be talking about Don Pettit. Follow him in his photography and shenanigans up there in space. He created a zero-gravity cup that you can drink out of, is one of his harebrained ideas up there. So these 2 guys, Haig and Alexander Gorbanov, they were launched in space 4 days ago. All right. Haig became the commander. This was supposed to be a 4-crew person. They went up there not to rescue Butch and Sonny and bring them back. Why not just keep them up there as part of the expedition crew and take 2 less people up that were going to be part of Expedition 72? And that was 2 women, Zena Cardman, who was going to be the commander, and Stephanie Wilson, who just had her birthday, in space. Stephanie they were scrubbed, and they're not part of Expedition 73 or 4, as I see. They're not going up on Crew 10. Hopefully they'll be part of Crew 11, and all that training won't go for naught. But so they're not bringing the Starliner crew back. They're just all going to stay up there, one big happy family, and then come back in the first week of March, most likely, after a 6-month expedition stay up there. Well, Haig over there on the left, and Ovention, this is them in October 2018, on the October 11th, when they were launched on this rocket. Here, Marty shows us our backdrop. And a big drama. This was an aborted mission that they survived. And to survive an aborted mission, which is one of the rarities in the space program, never had a shuttle abort, a couple of Mercury aborts, but nothing that they had to bring the astronaut down, or our cosmonauts down. But Nick Haig and Ovention were on here when a few minutes after liftoff, the craft went into a contingency abort due to a booster failure. and had to return to Earth. All right. At the time when this happened, and I'll tell you what happened. This is the first stage has got the two strap-on motors to it. Those come off, and they actually form a cross, sort of called the Korolev cross after their great designer Sergei Korolev. And they knew something was out of whack when they didn't see this cross figure that I'm going to show you here in a second. The second stage then actually bumped into the first stage for some reason, and that triggered an abort. The escape launch system, the tower on the top, had already been ejected, and the capsule was pulled away from the rocket using the solid rocket jettison motors on the capsule fairing that hadn't come off. All right. The abort occurred at an altitude of about 31 miles. Just think about that. They had already reported feeling weightlessness, and Mission Control declared a booster had failed. All right. Well, they're only 31 miles up, but still the lack of the acceleration story would have made them feel weightless. The spacecraft reached an apogee, or its highest point, at 58 miles. I heard it was above the Kármán line, which is 62 miles, and then landed 19 minutes, 41 seconds after launch. So a 20-minute crazy abort ride for these two. The search and rescue team heard from them 25 minutes after they landed, and they got back up with them immediately. Here is one of the photographs of that Korolev. This is the second stage booster right there, and all the drama happening, all right, as those stages separated off. It's kind of a dramatic moment, and you know when it looks right and doesn't look right. And this did not look right. Tommy Usiak knows what it looked like. He photographed Norm Thagard's flight back in the 90s. Here they are, Haig and Ovechkin, about 2 hours after they were safe in the arms of their loved ones there. That's Ovechkin over there and Haig there. Grateful that they're alive, okay, on there. There's Kirkorov right above me right there. They're number one. So a big investigation occurred. They concluded a ball joint supporting the errant side booster was deformed during assembly, preventing proper separation of the side booster, while the sensor and separation motor had worked properly. Okay, and thank God it did for that flight. So that was 6 years ago, October 11th. 6 years and a week away. Now, they said Ovechkin and Hayes would fly on as part of Expedition 59 and 60. So they waited. They flew. This was Soyuz 10. They flew 11, and then they both went back to space on MS-12, and were part of Expedition 59 and 60. That in 2019, 5 years ago. So now you know, and there's the one big happy family, 11 of them up there. I think that's so cool, Marty, that they were also together 5 years ago as crewmates on Expedition 59 and 60. Now they're crewmates on 71 and 72. That's this guy right above Sonny's hair, and on the left in the blue up there. The stories they got to tell to survive an abort to orbit, I'm telling you. They reached... it was, of course, a ballistic re-entry that exposed them to 5 or 6 Gs, completely unexpected, but it was part of their training, and that's the way they survived it. So hope you enjoyed that little star-crossed story there. Marty, here, while I show the who's in space, why don't you give your trivia question today? And then I'm going to take you all around the the Blue Origin property that I just drove about 3 hours ago during a storm, and took pictures out my window to show you what this fabulous campus looks like from the street. Marty, go ahead with your trivia question, and we'll answer it at the end of our quick drive-by of Blue Origin.
Okay, but I have to change my question, Mark, because I think my answer was wrong. So it's a different question.
Okay.
So who's the first woman Capcom, and for what mission?
Who was the first female Capcom, and for what mission? Dun, 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 dun,
Do you know
dun.
it?
Well, the logic, and I'm not, don't tell us, wait till we do my quick little drive by a Blue Origin. But the logic would say Sally Ride, but I am leaning to Anna Fisher. So don't tell me, Marty. Stay curious. Hi, Doug Forrest. Glad you're there. Um, yes, Steve Jokins. We did do a show with John Harrington, and we had to splice it together. And thank you for reminding us we're going to get that out there. And we're kind of embarrassed by it. We didn't bring it up to John, did we? That we hadn't aired it yet because it was back in May. So here is what I'm driving back from Merritt Island, a NASA Legends luncheon I'm privileged to go to. John Tribe was there. Jay Honeycutt, former center director. Jane Hodges, great educator. Lisa Malone was over the public affairs office underneath Hugh Harris. So privileged to be part of that. And I said, I'm going to drive by because I told you, every time you drive by that, this is their storage area here. This was built just to hold product like rolls of titanium or whatever they're using. And driving by, I'm looking out the windows here, okay, nice little storm, and then you go by that big building there. This is on the south side, and the Kennedy Space Center is on the other side to the right there, and you'll see a glimpse of it there. So as you go by, they're building like crazy always. Here's some more integration buildings being built. This could be buildings that build their Blue Reef space station, okay. Again, driving by, just shooting pictures out the window. This was a Florida, not Everglades, Florida forest, just vegetation like normal down here in Florida 7 years ago. They are building not one, but two parking towers that rival, each one of these rival the parking garages at Cocoa Beach that was a big deal to build. In fact, I think those are only 3 stories. We got a couple questions here. Who was the first female Capcom? Dave Stange thinks it's Sally Ride. Tommy Usiak says Sally Ride on STS-2. Okay, I'm going with Anna Fisher as a sleeper. They're again building these parking garages there for their staff to build stuff on the site here. This is their production facility, Blue Origin. Now, this was a building that went up about 4 years ago that they're building beside there. Now, I threw my camera over my shoulder there just to get an idea of what this is like. And this is the original building of Blue Origin that was built out there at Exploration Park. This actually, many of you, including Mark Usiak and Carlton Bailey, I think have been inside the glass lobby there where they have one of the first Falcon 9s that successfully landed. Up on top here is very interesting. That is a picnic area for employees. They got all kinds of satellite dishes up there, so forth. One day I'll try to make some better pictures, but I thought I'd just drive by the Blue Origin offices there. It is huge. It is just unbelievable how they've built on this campus. There you get an idea, looking all the way down. At the far end to the left is where I turned to show you there. And then as we're going by there, this is right across from Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex, the entrance to it. And I was telling Marty that they have put this 4-lane. It was 2 lanes going out there, all right? It was a 2-lane road, all right? And then they started building on each side to make it a 4-lane, 2 going in each direction. And most of the orange cones are up, so you know the crew's finished. And it's really a cool situation there. And this is almost like looking out as you're going into Kennedy Space Center. All right, you see this coming out of it. There's the entrance into the Space Center there. This is the turn right, and that's a kind of a rocket pillar there that's in there. So there's my little tour for you of Blue Origin as I drove by it there, Marty. And check out gohistorytravel.org, please. Please like us, share us, and whatever you need to do to get us out there. Thank you for watching Dean Babcock and Tom Usiak and Dave Stange, Bill Whiting, Tom Celentano, and Carlton Bailey. Thank you, folks, for chiming in today and watching Stay Curious. Hope you enjoyed how we enjoy putting the faces on the people who were out there in space. So, got a question, Marty?
Yeah, Dean Babcock is asking, since Butch and Sonny didn't train for an expedition or an extended stay in space, what task would they be performing as part of an expedition crew?
All right, we'll get into that more. I know Sonny's probably very scientifically oriented, but basically Butch and Sonny probably turn into janitors. The maintenance of the space station, we're finding out, is a big time task. I mean, every day filters have to be changed, things have to be done that we don't understand. By the way, the rocket in that Blue Origin, of course, was the New Shepard on display, not a Falcon 9. Thank you for straightening me up there, Tom Usiak. But yeah, the suborbital New Shepard's what's in there. And yeah, right. I just a brain fart there, guys. Don't lose your mind. I said Falcon 9 instead of New Shepard there. That's because the Falcon 9's flying, and we haven't, the New Shepard is a suborbital flight. We can't wait to get this new Glenn off. They did do a static test of the second stage and understood that they had to clean up some more pad damage there. So they're getting that straightened out at pad 36. Get back to Dean Babcock's question. Of course, there's science that was planned up there. You've got biomedical experiments, poking yourself with needles all the time. You've got electronic things going on. They basically have sort of science kits that are sent up by companies and NASA and institutions to do this. Now, had they trained for some of these experiments on the ground? No. But both of them have spent extended stays on the space station. They've both done an expedition, so they understand where they can fit in and really help out most. And I know when there's a lot of extra people on there, they'll do things like inventory. Inventory is a big deal. Where is stuff? That was a great problem on the Mir space station. They couldn't find anything because they didn't have an Excel spreadsheet, so to speak, of where things are. So updating that, I'm sure there's all kinds of housekeeping chores to get done there. Great question, Dean, and I'm going to look into that for future Stay Curious programs as I want to get into more of really what are they doing up there. All right, and 2 hours of exercise every day. Marty, you're the type of mentality that could do that more than me, but it's quite a discipline. I'd go 2 hours, maybe 4 or 5 days a week, and then try to slack off. But it's important to keep them alive up there. And like Steve Joachim says, he's sure that the International Space Station staff will find plenty for them to work on up there. There are some problems with the space station that I'm going to start delving into, having talked to some people who were on the safety committee for 2 decades, anonymously telling me that docking port of the Russians that we first put up there, Zvezda, is leaking. There's a lot of leaks on the Russian segments of Zarya, Zvezda, and Destiny, America's first modules up there, and from the stress and strain of 20 years of this stuff moving around. So imagine yourself on a boat dock, if you've guys been there, and you're jumping up and down on the dock a little bit, and 20, 30 feet away, that dock's going up and down like that. That's what's going on for years on the space station. So, well, thank you all for watching today. I have got some shuttles of the month of October to kick off. We need to do that. We'll be doing that tomorrow. 2 beautiful shuttles launched. One today was John McBride's only flight launched today. And we're going to be kicking off our shuttles of the month of October to celebrate our wonderful shuttle era and the 300 some astronauts who are in our communities today, like John Harrington talking out the Space Center. Who took over for John today, Marty? Remember?
Ken Cameron.
Oh, Ken Cameron's out there, a good old Buckeye. We're looking forward to seeing Charlie Walker and Mike Baker out there at the end of the month too. So if you ever have a chance to come to the Space Coast, go out to the Space Center, see the astronauts, and of course come here and see Marty and me. We'd love to have you in our studio for a live broadcast. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all. Wait, got a question, Marty? Oh yeah, right. Dave Stange did not give the answer. So who was the female Capcom, the first female Capcom?
Well, Mark, you should have gone with Dave or Tom and Steve everybody else. You all got it right.
Sally Ride.
Right on STS-2.
All right.
November 1981.
That's a good one, Marty. November 1981. And again, you don't have a reusable spacecraft until it is reused. And I think STS-2 was the real flight to show that Columbia would work in space on there. So good. That was too obvious for me, so I had to take out of the box. So Marty's going to come up with a trivia question. We're trying to do call things to get you guys interacted. We're also looking at having a new helper here. Excited about that. John Graham. In fact, if you're watching John, Space Coast Samantha Graham, thank you for her wonderful program Friday. And they're going to be part of our program. We missed Logan. Haven't heard from Logan Cope, who is our intern from East Florida State Technical or College there. But that's the way a nonprofit goes, is what we can get going. So, Stangy, up there to your Tigers, buddy. All right. Steal them bases and move them runners around, all right, the best they can. So until tomorrow, when we talk about the shuttles of the month of October, I'm Mark Marquette saying we can't wait to see you in our museum to bridge the space between us.